Hello and welcome to the podcast. Welcome back, or welcome if you're new, and so delighted you're here. I'll just mention on this episode, because I forget to do it, just to say if you are new here and you do like the content, please subscribe, like, share. If you do, this podcast really is dedicated to sharing the stories of women who are really, I suppose, coming home to themselves and living lives that are very authentic from the heart and really expressing who they are. Sometimes it has taken difficult experiences in their life for them to do so, but they often share how they've transformed and grown and become more of themselves and embrace more of their potential and their joy and their creativity and their self-expression. And I think that's what we're here to do, and come together as one in doing that and sort of share that journey with each other and support each other. And today is no different with my guest. It's Martina Marques from Brazil, my first Brazilian guest. So excited. And she is 30, and I say that not to just expose her age, but she actually does look so much younger than that. And her energy is beautiful. And I have come to meet and get to know Marina really recently in Galway, where she's based, like I am, through a beautiful drumming circle that we attend. And we were just talking about it last night because I had a beautiful session with her, which I'll mention. Um, and we were talking about how we met, and it was just a short conversation. And I said, "Would you like to come on the podcast?" And she said, "Yes." And it just sort of happened. And that is, I think that's what's happening more and more now when we are living more from our heart. We just connect very authentically with someone who we're meant to connect with. We just keep moving around in life and meeting who we need to meet, and it's really beautiful. It's sort of a nice flow to it. So as a result of that, Marina, as I said, she's from Brazil, but she's a Reiki practitioner and intuitive healer, I would call her. I think she's. I don't even like putting labels on people anymore, but she's a very gifted healer. I suppose Reiki is just a way many people move and start maybe their journey in this whole world of healing. And what really has inspired me and interested me is that she's so young and started this journey a number of years ago. So I had a session with her, and I'm going to let her speak in a few moments, but I just want to share this. I had a session with her last night, and it was really lovely the way it's worked out just before the podcast, because to me it's so much more than Reiki. I don't even know how to put words on it other than there was a very deep, she's a very deep connection with spirit or with spirit guides, and was very easily able to tune into what was happening in my body and in my, I suppose, energy field that was just so spot on in terms of what was happening and is unfolding in my life. And so much so, I'll just mention it as well. As I was going out the door to the session, I started to get a little bit of a sore throat. And I was saying that to Marina, and I haven't had a sore throat. I can't remember the last time. And as we were working, it came up that there was sort of a purging or a clearing at my throat. And when I came home, I felt my throat get even sore and really sore last night. And then I used my beautiful doTerra essential oils, which I love. And I've sort of been doing that and taking honey, and it's starting to clear. But that is the power, I think, even energetically, before you even go into a session, the body knows what to do. The body knows what to do when it's supported. So I will say hello, Marina. Thank you for the session last night, and
Yeah.
welcome.
Thank you very much for coming. It was a pleasure to work with your energy yesterday. I'm
Oh,
happy to
thank you.
stay.
So beautiful. How would you describe, before we get into what led you on this path, just how you experience a session? And even you can give some examples. I've no problem from the session with me last night, if you wish, just to demonstrate what happens for you or how you work, so people get a sense of it.
Yeah, so I've always been very sensitive since I was young, but when I was a teenager, I didn't know how to work with that energy. I couldn't understand, and uh, it was hard at times because you could just feel this, flow of emotions and and energies from people around you. But it's like, what do I do with these? You know, how do I go about it? But when I moved to Galway in 2019, I found out about Sharon Fitzmaurice, that she does
Been on
Reiki.
the podcast too. A beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful woman. Yeah.
She's amazing. She's a great, great teacher. And after I did the Reiki with her, it just opened up this path for me of understanding more and being able to uh, get in touch with that energy and bring forward. So I used to do the Reiki on family and friends, and you know, at times you'd question what you're seeing. You're like, you know, because sometimes the images come, they're very strong images, or you know, but as time went on, I learned that everything has a meaning, and it mightn't have a meaning to me, but it will have for the client, and you know, they'll understand, or if they don't understand at the time, it'll come, it'll unfold for them. Um, so it was,
Mhm.
yeah, it was after doing that Reiki with Sharon, and then I did level 2, and that gave me more confidence and openness, you know, to work with clients then. Um, so
Mm.
yeah, it's been a great journey, and it's very healing for me as well. Every session I do, I always come home with something enriching for myself. So it helps me as well on my process, on my spiritual path. I,
Yeah.
s-
Yeah. I have to say, it was a very unique healing. It was a very unique experience for me. And I think, I suppose that's the point of it. We're drawn to people, we all have different energies and there's no right or wrong in any of it. But at different points in our life, maybe I just find that the more you trust that you're guided to what you need, it's not about, someone being good or bad or anything. It's just what you need and what they have to offer. And that's how we're in constant exchange, aren't we? And in flow with each other because we are all one. We are all one big being. So it's when you start to understand it. But what was so beautiful, and I've never experienced this, is how you sort of talked through. So when you started, maybe just give a little example of how you started in particular, say the root chakra, that area, and you start seeing or knowing and talking through what's happening. Can you give a little example? Just even, you can use me as an example if you want, just to share that.
yeah, basically, I usually open up the session and I call all the guardian angels and spirit guides, and from there on, I start from the root chakra. I just, you know, with my hands, I connect with that space, and as soon as I close my eyes, the energy comes through as images, you know, through my third eye, and so it comes. It's like a little story. For example, yours yesterday, it was a lot to do with your ancestors, and so I usually see this circle on the ground, and it's how the client connects with that space, with which represents their root chakra, and so it can be different for everyone. Yours, it was a very deep connection with, you know, the soil, going underneath that space, going on that journey, and absorbing a lot of information from there, and healing, bringing a lot of healing for yourself and for your family, um, and
Mm,
it was a lot of in and out. You kind of moving into that soil and out again, and um, it felt like a constant journey, a beautiful journey for you of healing and learning, and
mm,
it also brought that energy that, you know, you also have the power to ask for, you know, time away from all that openness, if you feel you have received a lot of information and you need to take a step back and process all of that. You can work with your spirit guides and ask them, you know, I need time to process these first. So you can put a protection on that chakra and allow it to stay closed for a while, and you can bring it back whenever you feel ready. And then
mm.
from there on, I just move up to every chakra.
Yeah.
Go to the sacral chakra, which is our, you know, our life energy source, and our creativity is there and how we express ourselves through the word. It's like, where all the chakras in your body just come together, all those energies, and that's how you just, you know, put it out there to the world. And this space as well, it just comes through very individually for everyone. If I can use yours as
Yeah,
an
you
example.
can, because yeah, it might be interesting for people. I think at this stage
Yeah.
I'm revealing an awful lot of myself on this podcast, but not to be too, I don't mean it to be self-indulgent, but I sort of feel it can be a good way of sort of bringing it more to life. So,
Yeah,
and people
yeah.
may identify in their own life as well.
Yeah, so your one was very interesting. It was like I could see all the energy was there, and it was very strong and active on your sacral chakra. It came through as little crystals, orange crystals, but there was so many around you. There's just so much energy. You're extremely open. So there's just a lot of information that came through for that space, and it was nearly overpowering. So it was just about putting you in the center of that chakra and allowing you to be able to connect with each energy and each idea or creativity one at a time, and coming from your intuition, knowing which one to prioritize. But it just felt all that energy was there. It's like your spirit guides just reversed the roles. You were in the center now, and you were taking that control of which energy you wanted to bring forward first. But it was all there, and it was beautiful. Um, your solar plexus as well was quite amazing. I could see Celine. The energy was there, but there was just something pushing through the stomach backwards. Um, and but your energy was very much awake and connected in that space. But it was like there was just something pushing you back. So I asked what that energy was, and it came through as the shadow side, being able to look in the eye and face our shadow side and embrace it. You felt it was there, it was with you, but you were working. There was a resistance. That energy was pulling you back rather than helping you forward. So uh, as soon as it was asked, it came through that was the energy. And as soon as that came through, you connected and you looked at that energy and embraced it. You went into the center of it, took in all that energy. And because you managed to integrate the two, you were able to step forward. And again, you were in the leadership role of this chakra, and your shadow side was there, but it was there to push you forward rather than pushing you back. So it was there to give you strength and help you on your path, on your journey, and whenever you need that push forward. And so that was pretty
Mm.
amazing as well.
I think it's very interesting just to know that the shadow side, sort of when you say it, can be how do you describe that? Is that sort of just the aspects of ourselves maybe we sort of just push away and go, I don't really want to know that about myself. The sort of we all have these, I suppose they're like blind spots almost, aren't they? They're not necessarily bad, but maybe they're experiences that we were maybe afraid to experience or didn't know how to or felt we had to sort of, oh, people won't accept me or, if I show this, is that sort of how you mean when you talk
Yeah,
about
yeah, very much so. Like your shadow side is, I feel myself always when I'm connecting with other people, and if you feel, when you feel like judging is coming up, or there's something that you see in someone else that bothers you,
Mm.
um straight away I bring it back to myself. I'm not I'm sometimes I judge too, or those feelings come through,
Not an
but
easy one, is it? It's not an
yeah,
easy
it's
one,
not
but
an
it's
easy
it's
one.
the work, it's the
But
work we've to do, really, isn't it? And
exactly, but it's being able to bring it back to you and being like, what's in me that it's making me have these emotions and these feelings towards someone else. So it could be something that you've repressed, an energy that is just sitting there, and it's becoming, stagnant, and it might be starting to affect you. And if you don't look at it, it'll, it'll come through as a disease or something in your body physically, or so it is. It's our insecurities. It's things we've gone through in our childhood or in the past that we didn't look at it, and we, you just keep pushing it away and trying to keep going with life. But as until you look at those things and open those doors and face it, and go through. Sometimes it can be very painful, but we have to go through that pain to be able to come out the other side and be able to attract an energy at a higher level, because when we keep pushing that away, it'll always keep coming back no matter what. The more
Mhm.
you keep trying
I know.
to pull away, yeah, we'll keep trying to pull away, but it'll always come. At some point, it'll have an opportunity to come to the surface, and it will show up until you choose to look and face
Mm.
your fears and your
It strikes,
insecurities, your
yeah,
past
it
trauma.
strikes me, just sorry, Marina, when you're saying it, it's like it dims your power. Like I just get that feeling now as you're talking that, and I've done it, and I'm sure I still do it, where when you're pushing parts of you away, thinking, yes, I'm going to move on and forget that, but that is a part of us, and it sort of does dim your energy, doesn't it? It's sort of, you sort of need to understand and see and release whatever pain or energy is associated and bring that experience into who you are, don't you? It's very, I sometimes find it hard to describe, but for you to live more
Yeah.
fully in your energy.
Exactly, yeah, because it's like a wall that will always keep
Mm,
holding you back. So
mm.
no matter what, how much you try to move forward, it's just gonna be always there, stopping your path, trying to slow you down, and so it's important to do that.
And that is the sacral, isn't it? It's
Not
that
gonna say,
creative life force center, isn't it? It's that
yeah,
that really is, as you said. I know we often hear of the heart being the sort of connection between the upper, the physical and maybe the non-physical. But would you say that then the sacral is more the center of where, I suppose, our life force, how,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel it's all the energies of your heart and your solar, and they all kind of, they'll bring that energy down to this space. It's where they all connect. Everything that's going on in your energy system, it'll come together here, and that's how it's going to be expressed. So, the more you work on, being positive, staying on a high level energy, and working on yourself, all that energy is going to flow in your body and bring that to your sacral chakra, and you're going to manage to express yourself truly and authentic, and things they'll just unfold in ways that you're like, how did that just happen? But
Mm,
your energy is open, and it's allowing that to happen. Whereas if it's blocked, if you're not working on that space, it won't allow. There'll be blockages. You just won't come out the way that you wish for, out into the
mm.
world. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then maybe take us up through them. It's very interesting actually to go through the different aspects or, of ourselves. And then you moved up to the solar plexus. So how would you talk about that center?
Yeah, your solar plexus was your shadow side. That was
Oh yeah, that was the solar plexus, wasn't it?
yeah,
Sorry.
the
Yes,
solar
yes,
plexus. Yeah.
yes. Yeah, I'm confusing the two there.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no
Yeah.
worries. Well, guys, so then your heart chakra, it was, I seen you sitting on a chair, and you were in a room, and you were sitting in a corner, and your spirit guides walked in, and they said, why are you sitting here? Your seat is in the center. There's this room
I'm
belongs
sure
to
we all do
you.
this, do we? Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not.
we do.
You're in the
This
center of your own sort of power, I suppose. Well, in your own, yeah.
exactly, yeah. And then you moved to that space, and that's where everything just started blossoming around you. It was like, I could just see flowers and birds, and lots of colors and beauty around your room, and it felt like every step you took, there was more positivity, more of that energy being brought in. And and the more we feed our energy systems with what is good for us, the more we attract. And that's how it felt that every step you were taking in in your heart chakra, you were bringing in even more and more of that energy. And when you're coming out of that space as well, you open the door of your heart chakra, and um, I could see love letters for yourself. I could see, neighbors giving you like homemade cakes, and it was just
I'm still
love
waiting.
coming from, yeah.
Maybe later.
Yeah, but it just like felt like just love coming from every direction. Every direction you looked, that space was open to receive. So once it's open, I guess we allow that space to attract that energy to us. So that was your heart chakra. It was beautiful too.
Oh, thank you. And
Yeah.
And then the throat, which I mentioned at the beginning, that's sort of very interesting, isn't it? I only put two and two together just before we came on to record, and that's why I just wanted to share that for people. It's just that power energetically. It's just the power of our bodies, I suppose, knowing, or that intelligence that knows in advance. I keep finding this, it's like before you go to meet someone or in any situation, it's like we're in the drumming circle, and I find when I'm driving, there's my whole body. I started nearly singing and chanting one day in the car. It's like, what is this voice came out on the way to it? It was like it knows, oh, yes, we're going here. So, and it feeds the
Exactly. Yeah.
soul, which is important. So the throat, obviously, this is what I'm making sense of it now is, um, and it's like a recent guest said to me, there's a message in everything if we are open to it. We can dismiss everything that happens, on a day-to-day basis and go, oh, that was just coincidence. Oh, that was just an accident. But life isn't that. Life is magic. It's all about how you look at it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bring that more
Very much so.
conscious awareness to it. Well, that's been my experience. It just shifts everything, and it helps a lot too, going through sometimes difficult times. So would you, I shared that with you just before we came on. Would you think that was connected, that heart or that throat soreness?
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, especially when you showed you purging and just releasing all that energy. It was definitely like letting you know before coming in,
I
that's
know.
one space we're gonna cleanse today.
Yeah, and I didn't connect it really until this morning. Like a part of me, why did I get a sore throat out of nowhere? Like, and when often we'll just say it's a physical, but I don't feel that. I think everything is connected. So that's just a very interesting example in real time and so quickly. It just went boom, boom, and it sort of happened during the session.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
When
incredible.
that purging I suppose when we're very open to allowing ourselves to heal and let all that energy out, it's very easy and there's no blockages. And when you showed you purging, it was very quick, and you just wanted that release, and you knew it was that energy was there, but it was to come out. And yeah, so it just felt an energy of relief afterwards, that anything that was sitting there, it was
It's very,
gone.
yeah. And can I just, while we're here on this, it's sort of an interesting way to do the podcast, but it's sort of the way things are coming up, sort of certain topics. But I think purging, that word, even something sounds so, but it
Yeah,
feels, we spoke about this last night, and I think it's maybe a good place to talk a little bit about it, the power of purging or what it offers us. Can you talk a little bit about that, just in terms of your own experience and what you believe it offers us? Just talk through what exactly purging is. So for those listening who may have not heard, you know,
yeah.
of
So
it.
basically, the image that I saw, it was like, the purging is like vomiting, I suppose, just
Mm,
releasing.
mm.
It was basically a lot of things coming out through your mouth, and it was like energetically, just all that energy that was sitting there needed to be put out. But I do believe that purging does bring a lot of healing. Especially, I've gone through ayahuasca ceremonies,
Yeah.
and during ayahuasca ceremonies, that is part of it, where the purging is very much a very important aspect of it, because it's from that moment onwards that your body is open to truly healing and receiving all the energy from Mother Ayahuasca. So up until that point, there's just that movement of energy in your body, but you're not fully relaxed in that space. So it's the after it's the process after the purging that you'll feel the true healing coming to your body. And so I truly believe purging brings a lot of healing, and
Mm.
about
It's like
allowing
clearing.
your
Sorry,
yeah
yes. Sorry. Yeah.
it's just about allowing your body to cleanse in a physical way, just releasing all that through purging. And
And we
yeah.
never, yeah, I think it was probably more of the ancient or indigenous tribes or people knew this. And, I shared with you, and I just think it's useful to share it here just very briefly, how prior, I may have shared it before, it was prior to being diagnosed with cancer, it was back in 2015, and I could feel almost a build up. I think everybody at times will go, I just can't take any more. I'm so overwhelmed. And it's like your body, it's like the pot is about to boil over. We can sustain
Yeah.
so much because our bodies are so amazing and we can carry a lot, but it isn't necessarily good for us. And I went to a healer at the time. I just was guided to go to someone. I can't even remember. I don't think I'd even find them again. I don't even, it's like they appeared and disappeared magically. But
Yeah.
it did sort of was the catalyst for a lot of purging in the sense that every day I would come out of work and he told me to ask if it was too much and it was happening around people, to ask that it only happen on my own, when I was on my own. And literally from that moment forward, it only ever happened. I would literally could time my clock. I'd go five, whatever time I was leaving work that day, and it was different every day. I'd be going to my car and I'd have to run to the car and literally drive somewhere. And it wasn't a physical, but it was a purging of emotion. And it was so intense. I never experienced anything like it in my life. And afterwards, I think we were talking about this last night,
Yeah.
I would be
Yeah.
just, oh my God, I loved everyone. I was just such a relief. It is like physically getting
Yeah.
sick if you feel unwell. That's the only way to explain it, isn't it? And it went on for
Exactly.
6 weeks for me. Like it literally, it shows the backlog. And he used to say to me, don't even question what it's about, what it's to do with, if it's past life, present life, it's irrelevant. You just need to allow this. It's like the energy of those experiences need to move through your body, isn't it? It's like the body is the vessel for our experiences being processed in a way. Is that how
Yeah.
I sort of see that?
Yeah.
And we're inclined to keep them
Exactly.
stuck.
Yeah, and it's I think it's like everything, like, we need to look after our body, our mind, and why wouldn't we do this for us energetically? Releasing on a regular basis. It's really important, whichever way works for you. But definitely that's a very powerful way of cleansing your body from energies that may be just stagnant, just sitting there, and might be stopping you.
Ayahuasca is sort
Great.
of, sorry, a process you're going, and rather than it just sort of happened to me, well,
Yeah.
it was, I was guided to do it. But so for you, when you go, is it like you just get the sense I feel like I need, there's something sort of blocking me or I need to clear? Is that why you choose to go when you do go, or how does it work?
Ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. The first time I just felt a calling, when uh, out of nowhere. I was like, I need to try ayahuasca, and I had no idea what it was, so I started researching and trying to figure out where I could do it. And I was going to Brazil then, so I had a friend over there that would go on a regular basis, and so I felt safe, and I had someone to be there with me during the process. But it was just a calling, and I didn't know what was going to come through. But I had no fear. I just felt like I had to go through that journey, and yeah, it was quite amazing. Just all the experiences, all the things that came through during that session. It was a lot of family stuff that came through. Family, my mother, brothers, um, but it was beautiful. And then after that first time, I just knew that was something that it's just something that goes so deep in myself. The ayahuasca just shows you what's really deep in your body that you may not see in other ways. And I feel like I'm a very deep person, and this is something that I know will go right in there and just, release anything that may be stopping me moving forward on my path, that may, it may guide me towards a direction that I may not have seen it before, and bringing healing overall to myself and my family and my ancestors. And so it's beautiful.
Yeah. And is ayahuasca, did it originate just, you're from Brazil? I'd often feel it's often what we're part of or grew up in culturally, and where we were born obviously plays a part in, you know, what we're here to do, or maybe, what we need to work with, because it's sort of part of our indigenous culture, I suppose. Is ayahuasca, where, I don't even know, where did it originate, or that
It-
plant medicine?
From the
Part
Amazon.
Yes, the Amazon. Okay.
Yeah. So it is more, my region is more to the south of, it's at the very south of Brazil. So, and they usually have to, bring it, they usually go to the Amazon to make the brew and bring it down to my state. But to be honest, I hadn't heard it when I was in Brazil about it, and it was only, a few years ago. I just, I must have seen somewhere, and I just felt this strong calling to try. But it's from the Amazon. It's from the indigenous people, and it's something they do throughout their lives for physical healing, for spiritual healing, and to be able to be, regularly connected to that space where they live. And I think it's something we miss nowadays. We're just living this world, it's all the time just go 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 go, and we don't have that time to stop and connect and just be present. And I think that's very much what ayahuasca brings. When you take it, you just feel very present in your body, and it's pure love around you, and just that healing comes from that. And it's yeah, the last time I did ayahuasca in Brazil, it was a lot of connecting to my roots and my culture and my ancestors, and just being taking that into my life and learn more, and yeah, and just add more of who I am to my journey.
And did you feel very different afterwards? Did you feel like you really deeply connected with your ancestors? Like, did you feel a wisdom coming in or something? Or how would you describe?
There was actually an older woman there, and she had a skirt on, and I don't know what age she would have been, but she was on her bare feet, and she just brought me that feeling of a grandmother, and the African culture as well, that was brought into Brazil. And it was like, um I just felt like going over to her and hugging her. And but we are all in our own process, but that's the energy that I was feeling during my journey of my ancestors and my roots. And she kind of brought that energy to me, and I just felt very honored to be in her presence somehow. And how you know I just felt very kind of happy and wrapped around that love energy, when just by watching her and the way she was dancing. And uh, yeah, it was beautiful.
And did people around you afterwards, like family, did they notice you differently, or did they feel, do you feel it differently? Because it obviously shifts something in the greater family line and family.
Yeah, like the next day you're still very, for a few days you're still very open, so you can feel the energy of Mother Ayahuasca. And it's, yeah, you're still processing everything that came through for you during that session. So during that ceremony, so it takes you a few days to start making sense of things. um and like there was one, and my family will be like, they'll just I'll be sharing my experience with them, and they can see the difference, because you're more relaxed, you're more in like loving, and you can just see that side of people. It's the love and the positive side of aspects of the people around you, rather than the other, the other things.
Mm.
But,
Mm.
and some things you see as well, you might think it doesn't, there is, like there was one thing I seen that I thought there was no meaning at the time, but then after a few days I realized that he actually had cleansed a lot of anxiety from my body from that experience. Um, and coming back from that, I could feel for a few months just feeling very much at ease, in peace with myself, at work, around people. Um, because I love being around people, but I love my time alone as well. And sometimes it can be a lot being around people, but it's like it kind of brought me that balance that I would be able to manage and be able to be around these energies and not feel overwhelmed, and just keep me at a good space for connecting with people. And I feel that came definitely from the ayahuasca experience.
And do you feel it's something, it may not be ayahuasca for everybody, but do you feel it's something regularly we need to be doing as a way of staying sort of in balance? That's what I'm feeling the more I'm listening to you, and even myself from the experience last night, is how important it is that we purge or clear or whatever words you want to use
Yeah.
regularly, because we're not these static beings. I suppose that's it, isn't it? We're meant to be in flow constantly. Like that's where our creative energy comes from. And if we're sort of blocked up, it's sort of, it really, doesn't it? It's just become such a revelation in my own life, how limiting it becomes and how painful when we,
Yeah, yeah.
isn't it? It can be really painful when you're holding on to these energies, I
I
suppose.
know. I know there's a lot of people that would do regularly in Brazil when you're close to the medicine, where they would do, weekly or monthly. For myself, I feel twice a year is really good. It's like, it's for the start of the year to get you on a good space and clarity for the year ahead. And in the middle then to, when you're kind of 6, 7 months in, and you need that push again and clarity to just to kind of get to the end, complete your plans and projects. And I just feel for me
A deep
personally, twice
clean, a
a
spring
year.
clean.
Yeah, it's literally a spring clean. Yeah.
I know, spring clean and an autumn clean. And maybe it's different for everyone. Not everyone may be drawn to ayahuasca. And I think another
Absolutely.
thing I hear is that it's very important that with everything, you trust and you go to someone who understands the medicine like you do in Brazil. And it is a sacred ceremony, and, it needs to be done, doesn't it, in a very respectful way
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
So you need to know who you're doing it with and that they understand the power, because from what I've heard from others as well, it's very powerful, but it can be quite challenging too if difficult emotions come up for you. You need someone who can really hold that space.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It's not the easiest process, for everyone. And it definitely is. You need to feel it. You definitely do, because going in, like if you feel fear or you're hesitant or there's something else holding you back, a lot of the time it mightn't work. So you need to be in a space where you feel ready for the medicine, or you may not, like you said, it may not be something for you. But
Mm.
I'd definitely say that it is a very healing ceremony if you are open and if you feel that calling. And but yeah,
Do you think
you
the more
need
I'm
to feel
listening to you,
inside.
sorry, when you talk about, I'm just very sorry. I know we're staying on this because I just think it's so powerful and so interesting. And I think just for people energetically to sense, it really, like when I met you first, you can sense it from someone's energy when they are sort of more expanded and clear, and they have purged probably or cleared, and there's just this vitality and of their life force coming through, which is how we're designed to live. And you can sense when someone isn't, and it must be very painful. I've been there, so I know what it's like, and it's not the way we're meant to live. I just get very passionate on this topic because I just feel it so strongly, because like you can sort of see, it doesn't mean there won't be more purges and more going on, but there is another way you can live. You can come past the pain, can't you? And you can come through all of this with the right support. I just think for someone so young, it's just so inspiring that you're sharing this, and whatever way people choose. I think maybe Mother Ayahuasca, as you call it, maybe energetically came to me because I mean, there was no
Yeah.
stopping, but something came to me because it just was in a moment, and there was no stopping it. And when I rang the man the next day, he said, Celine, at a higher, your higher self signed up for, said to me, said yesterday on the table on the bed that you're ready. And I was like, oh my God. I sort of knew, and I knew I'd be okay. I did know that. I understood that, but it was still physically doing it was not easy. But I feel something, there was a greater energy. Maybe it was Mother Ayahuasca. I don't know if there are other, I don't know enough about it, if there are other energetic plants or, how else it comes. But
She could be very well connecting to you and just bringing
in
her.
Ireland, all the way from the Amazon.
Yeah.
Because maybe there are
Well,
different,
that's
I
so
suppose in
sweet.
different cultures, there are different traditions around how you do that. I suppose in Ireland, there always was, and I'm interviewing someone about this topic in a few weeks, and I have who, I don't know if it's the same thing, but they would have called it the keening, the keener, the ban queena was the crying woman. So women, it was sort of, it's a ritual. I think it's still, some people practice it where particularly with someone dying, I don't know if it applies to everything, they would sort of come in and they would sort of almost channel that grief through them, through the sort of crying, let's say, and they would be.
Um,
I don't know. I could have this a bit wrong because I'm not up on the whole tradition of it. Other than I think they could be employed to come to a funeral, let's say, and they would support people to channel that grief, to release it. It was a really important part, and also bringing that spirit to where it was going. And then I think the church put a clamp down on it. I think, but there are, we need in whatever I think we do, those indigenous ways were really how we're designed to live. We have to reconnect, don't we, with that?
exactly.
We
Yeah.
really do. Like, there is no other way. We are part of nature. And if we sort of try and put a band-aid on everything that happens and stuff it back down, it doesn't go away, doesn't it not? It just,
And I just love when you said you did that for so many weeks, the purging, yourself, because like a lot of
I'd
people
no
wouldn't.
choice.
You didn't, yeah,
Well,
but
maybe I did, I don't
you
know.
might try to push it down and pretend it's not there or avoid all that, and you were just accepting and allowing all of that to come out. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, well, it's a gift. It's a gift
Mhm.
ultimately. So just
Yeah.
we'll move on, but I think that's so I just think that's so powerful, and it came up so much when we were talking yesterday. And then I just think of the throat where we've just been talking about. Maybe just move up to the other. It's just giving just a sense of how you work energetically. I think it's really interesting because just to, again to say to listeners that like it was really so unique because Marina was sort of talking through it and I wasn't talking back, but I could feel it. Like it was the most unique experience I've had. And it was like, yeah, you were having visions of what I was experiencing. It was like coming together as one energetically in that space. And that is what the sacred space is. For healing, which we talked about. And yeah, it's just miraculous, really. And then you move to the third eye, don't you? And the crown, which is where you sort of, yeah, finish up.
Yeah, so your third eye was just numerous downloads of energy and information. It literally came through as like files coming in, like on a computer, and you're downloading files. It just felt like there was a lot of information being brought into your third eye. And then I just felt you were, that space was extremely open. And so they were just, you know, bringing in everything they could. So for you to process and bring it out into the world, but it was a lot of information. So it was about you being they all went into different boxes, and it was in
Thanks
your
be to
palm.
God.
Yeah, the
I
boxes
hope
were
you stay
closed,
there.
and then it's like you could um direct the energy and choose what to prioritize first. And that's when you would go and open, your first box, and that energy would be what you'd be focusing on first, and you could move on to the next one. So it wasn't overwhelming, but it was all there for you, and all that spiritual energy and wisdom and information. So
Very
that was,
beautiful. Yeah. And for people listening again, I think if you're sensitive like you are, Marina, as well, and we are living in that time, this really heightened energetic state in the planet, and more energy is coming in and solar flares, and I think we're all feeling sort of, whoa, what's this? And like what you described, downloads or switches going on. They say our DNA is being switched on and we're evolving into a more advanced human, I suppose, the human that we truly are, all of our
yeah,
abilities coming online, let's say, but it's a process, and it's quite can be hard on the body, can't it? It can be sort of, I can feel it sometimes like I'm plugged into a wall when I go to bed. I'm like, what has happened? It's like, shh. So I think it's important for anyone, if you're sensitive and listening, to sort of, I suppose, know how to work with that, and like, what would you suggest? Like, that was really helpful to me. Sorry, the overarching message now I'm getting is like, it's sort of bringing, for me, yesterday's was bringing me back into the center of my own self and power. And I ultimately, at a higher level, direct this, rather than, as you said, being battened by all this information and energies and demands. And that's how I would have felt. So it feels like it's reorienting to, like, you're the sort of master on the ship, and you, like, at your higher self level is. And
yeah.
is that sort of like, it felt like a reorienting of who's in the driving seat, really.
Exactly. Yeah, your one was very much about that. Yeah, because
Yeah,
all the
but I suppose
energies
it's
were
different for
there.
others. Mm,
Yeah, I didn't feel any blockages or any lack of energy anywhere. It was they were all very much active and strong, the colors around them. And it was just like reorganizing the energies and putting you in the center of
yeah.
all the energy points. So
Yeah. So
you
with other clients, you may have situations where the energy is blocked, or different things might have happened, obviously,
Exactly.
depending
Yeah,
on,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
there's many clients that certain points they mightn't be open to allow you in. So there was a few clients where the heart chakra will be closed. And so I would express that to the client. I would say, I'm trying to connect with your heart chakra, but I feel the door is not open there. And usually when I say that during a session, the person, without realizing, they open that space and allow you in. But they might be a bit hesitant at the beginning, but then it kind of, it progresses as the session goes on with the messages that come through. But yeah, it's very very different for everyone, every session.
yeah.
um yeah,
But it's lovely when you create, I think that's it, when you create the safe space anywhere, whether I hopefully here on the podcast, or you go into a healing room, or you go to ayahuasca or whatever, that's really what it's about. Because you sort of open, I think, energetically before you do nearly physically, like your energy has to feel, doesn't it, safe? So like what
yes,
you said, that person's heart, by your energy as well as your words, but probably more so your energy, because you could just say to someone, your heart's closed, will you open it up? I don't think that would work. So there has to be,
yeah,
what do they say? It's not, I can't think of the right sentence. It's not that words, it's energy tells the truth, really, not the words. You can say any words,
true,
but energy
yeah,
talks. We feel it, don't you? Like you
yeah,
said.
energy will talk
You
louder for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So no, that's so, and just, yeah, that's lovely. Thank you for just talking that through, because it was just, I hope it brings to life for people the type of work that you do, and what's possible when you come into that sort of sacred space with someone else, and you're open to what's available and what you're being guided to. It's to trust that, I think, if ayahuasca is showing up for you and calling you in your dreams, off you go. If it's not, there may be something else. Trust
exactly.
that, because it's a very personal journey where you're in the driving seat, and it's not about anyone telling you what's right or wrong for you. It's really, isn't it, finding that. Can I ask you just to switch from that then to, I suppose, your life before, and like growing up in Brazil, like you said, was this always there as a very young child? Like, did you, as you said, I know you were sensitive, but How would you describe yourself as a young child growing up?
Yeah, I was always, yeah, like that, always very sensitive, very in tune to people's energy around me, but and like that, didn't know how to go about. But yeah, I lived in Brazil until I was 12 years old. We used to live in the farm. Um, Lovely time. Now I realize now that, when you're there, it's like, oh, I want to see the world and I want to see what's out there. And you do have to go out there and see it to appreciate. But now I'm like, that life was great, it was very simple, but it was really, really nice in the farm. But yeah, so just around a lot of people in school, and I would just I could just feel, and it would block me at times, because that was my way of protecting my energy, because I didn't know how to deal with with those interactions. Just very overpowering energies. Maybe someone could be bringing around a very dense energy with them, and that would definitely just make me feel very introverted, and I would just stay in my body. And that then I would have to go and do some I would always be searching, like, healers and things related to spirituality online. I'd be always watching and finding
When you were
ways to,
very young. Well, you
yeah,
are still
like,
very young, but
I
when
feel
you
like, so when I moved here when I was around 12,
so you
um
moved to Ireland when you were 12.
I was 12 when I moved to Ireland. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, came to live with my dad. And yeah, so I'd always be trying different things to try and, but I didn't fully understand at that time, but I would always try and find ways to release the energy that would be just sitting in my body that was, affecting me. But it was kind of like a regular thing. It was like, and then you have to go back to that space, and, that energy comes through again. And it's like, how do I overcome this and learn how to work with with cleansing in an easier way, or not letting it affect me. But
Mm.
it was in my dad got sick in 2016. He was diagnosed with cancer, stage 4. And at that time I was in college. I was doing business with tourism. But when we found out that he was sick, I was like, I really want to be home to help him and, care for him. And I think that was the best year I've had in, my entire life, because even though it was a really hard time that he was sick and going through his treatment and things like that, um, for me it was really, really important to have that time with him, because before I wouldn't have been, we would have been close, but I wouldn't have had all of that time um, around his energy. And he always had a very light energy. It was really calm and very supportive. And so I felt very much alive in that year, being with him. But
Mm.
after that, that's when I moved to Galway again after he passed away. And that's when I found Sharon, and she opened up that path for me through the Reiki. And now now I'm able to understand and work with energy for
Mm.
myself and for other people.
Mm. But sounds like as difficult as it was, like there's something very important in the role that your father has played in your life that brought you to Ireland firstly.
Yes.
And then, so there's obviously, I always believe we end up where we're meant to be. And it's like your light in needs to be in Galway now, I think, because you're a very bright light in your energy. And I think that's needed. People are sort of dotted around the planet in places where maybe that's needed to help lift people and help, maybe support others. So it's like your father, I don't know, I just feel that nearly in
Yeah.
spirit that brought you here. And then if you don't mind me saying, but you just spoke a little bit about that to me last night, which I found very moving. And for anyone maybe who's going through that with someone very sick, that as sad as it was and difficult, there was something very sacred in you being able to be there and care for him. And like to be able to talk about that year as being so beautiful at the same time, that you could see the gifts in it. Um, what do you feel you learned from your father during that time? You talked about him and you said he didn't have, a faith himself before that.
Yeah. Yeah, I even got a bit emotional there talking about that. But
I think he's here with
yeah.
us. I think he's here with us. And I don't want to pry into anything that's too personal, don't share, but I nearly feel his spirit here with us. It's like he is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is definitely. But yeah, my dad, I remember mentioning to him when I was home with him that he does wish he did wish that he had something to hold on to, like a religion or a spirituality, even though my dad had a way of life that was very spiritual. He cared for other people. He was always looking after his family. He did his best for everyone around him and for himself. But he didn't have a direct kind of regular sit down and connection with spirit, and he did feel he was missing that when he was sick. uh, just something to hold on to bring you that strength throughout that process. And yes, that definitely helped me look into that more and more, because it did stay with me what he said. And it was like, I want to be able to have that if one day I have to go through something challenging, and be able to have something to hold on to and give me strength. And he actually gives me a lot of strength now. I always call upon him when we need guidance, or um, if my heart is needing of just that love. So I always call upon him, and he's always there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And what you say there makes me think that, this idea of spiritual comes in many different packages. And it sounds like your father was very spiritual because he was full of love and he cared about people. Isn't that the truest expression? It doesn't mean you have to go around, wearing all your robes and I'm a spiritual teacher. It's
Exactly.
so really, he was probably the epitome of it. Like it sounds that if he was in that place with you before he passed, that's maybe what he was teaching as well, and demonstrating to you that um it is
The,
that
the
love.
amount
And
of the amount of healing he brought for me, even though it was a year of us bringing that to him. But I felt like he was doing more for me than I was for him, during that process. Just for him being there, being present for those 11 months. We were both being there for each other, but it was things I learned about him that I didn't know before, like that he shared. And it was really important for me that time. Yeah.
it's such a gift. And I think the what do they call it, the sacredness of life and passing and just leaving your body, really, because we do go on. Well, that's how I sense, because
Yeah.
I can feel my father, I can feel my grandmother, I can feel them. So I know, I don't have any doubt about that. But it just seems, yeah, a really beautiful gift to be in that place, because there's no time, there's no, what would I say, no more present place to be than knowing, that this is the path you're on. I think something lights up in people. I don't know, I can't say for everyone. I know some people have, I'm not commenting on every experience for people because I know some can be extremely difficult, but just it sounds like in your experience that was, yeah, a beautiful gift, as you said, that you'll carry. um
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It
yeah.
was one of the sacred years for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds like
Yeah.
he's really propelled you on this path, because then you met Sharon, and like it's just the whole path of coming to Ireland, and then where that's led you to now. And I've no doubt at your age, you can just feel it off you. There's just such life and energy and love, and you just, yeah, you emanate it from you. And I often have heard a lot, people are often about what will I do? And because I worked a lot when I was in my previous job in a university, so I've been going out to schools talking to students about going to college. And there's such a pressure on what'll I be and what'll I study. And
Yeah.
I think it's more who you are, like how are you showing up in your life? Like what you're going to do will be shown to you nearly, isn't it? Like it's a
Yeah.
very good example for you. Like business, and not that there's anything wrong with business and tourism, but would you go back? Everything serves its purpose and we learn from everything, I know. Is that something that you would desire to go in that direction with, or where do you see what's next for Marina?
No, no, I wouldn't go back there. It was a good experience to be able to have that opportunity to go to college and try it out. But deep down I knew it wasn't the path I wanted to take. But definitely I want to be able to work with Reiki and readings. You know, it's something that brings life to me and makes me feel alive. It's definitely like a passion, and it kind of fuels my body. So I would love
Mm.
for this to be my future, and for many years, you know, to be able to help others and in turn be helping myself too.
Well, you should be going out to schools now talking. Maybe I'll go back to that job and bring out, people like you because I think that I'm late to the game. Fine. Well, it's like I sense we're born. We go into this sort of forgetfulness and all the layers of life, and then we each go on our own path to sort of unpeel all the layers and remember. But we need the experiences. It's not we can jump past the experiences because you have
Exactly,
to
yeah.
live it. It's not something you can read. So for whatever you're ultimately going to, not even ultimately, because you're just always unfolding in your life, but it's like you have to have experienced what you did. But you make a very important point there, sorry, as well about feeding your soul. And I think, yeah, the same for me. When you feed your soul, you're feeding the world, really, because
Right.
isn't it? That
Yeah.
there's nothing better you can do because it fuels you up and your
Yeah.
unique passion and gifts then come to life for me, like it did last night, and for other guests, for other clients. So
Yeah,
it's
and I feel when your heart is full, you know that energy overflows. It's like during this podcast now, I can feel like just very at ease, and I can feel your energy. It's very light, and it's just your room and how it feels very true to you. This journey, you know, and this and giving people this platform to speak and share their story, their truth.
thank you. Because we said at the beginning, and I've been thinking about what is it about this podcast? I've probably been
Yeah.
trying to define it, and I think the message I'm getting is you don't need to define it, you don't need to limit it. But you pulled a beautiful card. Would you mind sharing that at the beginning? Because I just said to Marina before we came on something about my intention or desire is that it's a sacred space for those who come in and meet me here, because I don't just see it as a podcast in that sense. I feel for me, it's more a sacred space for someone to share their truth, as you said. And you had pulled a card before we came on. Do you want to
Yeah.
share it?
Just before the podcast, I said I'll take a card
Mm.
from this deck, and
Goddess,
I
yeah.
took the sacred space. I don't know if you'll be able to see.
It's Nematona is the name. Is that I don't know what that
Yeah,
is. She's going to be a goddess, is it? And what
yeah,
is, you want to read the message?
says sacred space. It's create an altar or visit a power place to connect with the divine. So I feel this is it's a place to connect with the divine. We're bringing that energy like to this moment. I feel, and
Yeah.
what you offer here. But it
Thank
was
you.
funny when you said that word, you know,
I
when we were talking
know,
about
I
the
know.
space,
And
wasn't it?
literally, it's the only words I can use, and that may make sense to some people. It might not make sense to others, but it doesn't matter. It's the
Exactly.
intention that is there, and it's like the answer coming back. So we're always, aren't we? Since I went down to visit you yesterday evening, Marina, it's like this. We're in this constant energetic connection, and it's such a beautiful
Yeah.
way to live when what you've described through the sessions you offer, you clear, you purge in whatever way, you're allowing more of who you are to sort of come through you. And that's your gift to the world, as you said, like when your heart is full. I mean, isn't that such a beautiful, just even to say that, like my heart feels full now. And you go, well, when your heart is like that, you can go out and be of service or whatever way you're meant to be in the world to hopefully uplift and help others and be happy and
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, so important. Would you have any, before we finish up, is there any, just thinking of any young people, all ages, who might be listening to you now, and you've described a bit of your own path and the turn it has taken from, say, business and tourism and how it's all unfolded and how you followed it. What advice might you have if somebody young is struggling or dealing with a lot of anxiety or, there seems to be a lot of pressure nowadays as well on young people. Um, what would you what would
I
you say?
just feel like be able to bring yourself back to yourself rather than looking for answers out there externally. try and look within, try and understand what's going on inside you. And if you need guidance and support, like I've needed and may need again, and reach out to people that can offer you that. But definitely look inwards. Not Don't allow the world to pull you away from your truth and who you are, and um, just do your best to connect to that essence, and from there, it will bring that healing to you and that sense of relief and connection, I suppose. And I just wanted to say, like, about spirituality, I just feel it's not it doesn't have to be this big thing. And I just feel spirituality is all about the little things in life. It's, a kind word to someone, or just messaging someone you may feel needs a connection in that moment. Or it's the little things in life that we may be taking for granted, but that spirituality, talking through people, and just sometimes you might just, that's all you need, just a kind word, um just a deep conversation with someone that maybe that's exactly what you needed in that moment. So don't hold back when you feel in your body that it's telling you to share something with someone, either words or, whatever you feel in your body. Don't just put it out there, because I'm sure that person may be looking for that, and it might bring a lot of healing.
Beautiful, beautiful. And exactly, if you're feeling it in your body, which brings me back to the start again and the work that you do, which is helping people clear a lot of what, or purge, which is not, an integrating the shadow and clearing out what is stored in the body, maybe that needs to move through so that you can feel. Like I think it's so exactly what you say. If we follow that, like you said, if you feel the urge to suddenly text someone or share something, then it's coming from a very authentic place, because you don't have all this, what would you say, where we
Yeah,
started talking about judgments or projections at the beginning. I mean, we'll always have a certain amount of that, I suppose, being human, but the more we're doing this work regularly, I've noticed that now I can get a very strong instinct just to go, I need to send that person a message. And it could be
yeah,
months later, they might say, oh my God, you've no, they may or may not, but sometimes it's happened where they said, God, you've no idea. Thank you. I really needed to hear that. And it can be, as you said, seem so insignificant, or a smile, but you can only know that when you can feel it, when you follow that energy, isn't it? That it just
yeah, yeah,
rises up in you. I need to go and see that person, or I need to, whatever. Um, and you have those meetings then, isn't it? It's like the drumming. I feel that we're in a beautiful drumming circle with the lovely Eamon Carrick in Galway, and it's just phenomenal, the energy and the people that meet there, isn't it? It's such a
yeah.
heart. To me, that's a sacred, hugely sacred space. Everybody's, isn't
You
it?
feel
And
so
the,
free.
hmm?
So you just feel so free there, and just,
Yeah.
there's no judgment. You can, it's all about just expressing yourself there in those drums, and letting go. And I love that about that circle.
It's the vibration, I think, too. It's like you're
Yeah,
connecting with Mother Earth. And that's what I always think. It's all, this doesn't mean like all shapes and sizes, ages, every sort, every week you go, isn't it? There's something.
yeah,
But when you're connecting there in the heart, and I was led there, just led there is the only way I can describe it. I don't really know how I found him, but I think that's the way we're
yeah. I actually can't
I
remember
know.
how I came across
No, I
him. And
don't either. I've no idea. I know I did go a few years ago, then I stopped and then I went back again. And I think I just got the calling to go back. I found the book. I'll finish now. This actually, I don't know. No, this woman isn't Brazilian. I was going to finish on this note, but I found the book, and I thought about it again this morning, or someone directed me to the book, Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. I don't know if she's a connection with Brazil, but it's a beautiful, very, yeah, ancient, I would say, connecting with the ancient ways and the ancient wisdom. And I read it and it was like, and I think that sort of either brought me to the drumming, or the drumming brought me to the book, which brought me to the podcast. I'm not sure, but they're all interconnected. But it was only
yeah,
because I could start to feel again, because I hadn't felt for years. So, I just think it's just wonderful to see what you're doing, Marina, and just to be such an example and a light for others who may be, particularly younger people who may be struggling. And I think that's wonderful advice because the world is a bit crazy. And I think it is us ultimately who create the world that we see. So we need to come back within and decide,
Yeah,
and it's only there we can sort of really, isn't it, influence or by coming back to who we truly are. Um,
back.
yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you everyone for listening. And for anyone, if you want to you don't do sessions online, do you, Marina? I presume it's quite difficult at this, or
Yeah, I do it from Triskel Center on Fridays. Yeah, I'll
yeah.
be mostly
Yeah.
from,
So it's
yeah.
physically, you don't do online. What I'm saying is at the moment,
I
you
can
don't do
do, sorry,
online.
I can do distance healing as well.
Oh,
Yes.
perfect. Oh,
Yeah, I
great.
did
Okay,
that
wonderful.
one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
wonderful, because I've had distance healing sessions with people and they can be just as powerful. It's beautiful to meet in
Oh, yeah.
person. So wherever you are, just know I will put Marina's contact details. I think you said it's mainly on Instagram, isn't it, to connect with you? And I'll put that in the description box here. So absolutely can highly recommend. Yeah, my God, my throat is healed. Still a little bit raw, probably a little bit more. I did a lot of purging, so might need a bit more drumming tomorrow, and that will be good. Will help it. So thank you, everyone, and thank you, Marina. And until the next time, take care.
Bye bye. Thank you.